In a cell, there are three types of organelle: single membrane, double membrane, and some of the organelles that they do not have a membrane. So today in this session we will be talking about double membranous structure, and mitochondria is one of them. This is Dr. Pankaj Kumar, your mentor for today's sessions. Now we will try to understand that what are the important characters or features of mitochondria. First thing first, mitochondria is known as powerhouse of the cell. Now why we call them powerhouse of the cell? Because they have a capacity, right? So that's why we call them powerhouse of the cell. And these are the semi-autonomous organelle. And why we are calling them semi-autonomous? Because they have their own ribosome and own DNA, right? And since they have a own ribosome and own DNA, so they can go for the formation of their own protein, right? So that's why we are calling them semi-autonomous, and they have a role in cytoplasmic inheritance as well. Now let's talk about the structure. If you see the structure, then we can easily see there are different compartments that is going to present over there. So we can draw the diagram. For instance, if I draw the diagram of mitochondria, so we can say it is a double membranous structure. So the inner layer is having a finger like structure, and that finger like structure is actually called as a cristae. So we can see there are strict compartments. So the outer one, this is what we call the outer membrane. This is the outer membrane, and then this is what we call the inner membrane, and in between we will find the perimitochondrial space, right? So this is the perimitochondrial space, that is perimitochondrial space. So outer membrane has more lipids, and they have a more phospholipids in comparison to the inner membrane, and the mitochondria without outer membrane is actually called as a mitoplast. Okay. Now as we have shown in the previous diagram, that there is going to have a perimitochondrial space, and the perimitochondrial space is 80 to 100 angstrom. These space are very rich in coenzymes and the enzymes that is required for the oxidation of the fats. Now we have an inner membrane. Right now in the diagram also we have seen that inner membrane is nothing but it is a finger like projections, and that finger like projection is actually called as a cristae. So it contains all enzymes of electron transport system, because in the inner membrane the electron transport system is there. We can see in this diagram also. So this is the inner membrane, right? And in this inner membrane the respiratory molecules are present, right? And within the inner membrane what we see, there is the oxysome. So that is the structure of the oxysomes, or you can see this is the structure of the oxysomes. Now in this oxysome what we see, the head portion is actually called as a F1 particle, and the lower portion is actually called as a F0 particle. So this is what we see over here. So F1 particle is associated with ATP synthesis by enzyme ATPase, because here ATP synthetase enzyme is there. So whenever a hydrogen ion form, the perimitochondrial space passes through it, so it creates enough potential difference, and that eventually leads to the coupling of ATP and ADP, forming energy in the form of ATP, right? Then F0 particle, these are embedded in the inner mitochondrial space. We can see in the diagram as well. So these are embedded, and they provides a tunnel for protein. Okay, and this eventually also helps in the very process of terminal oxidation in the process of respiration. So that is the very function of F1 and F0 particle. Now we have a matrix. The inner area is actually called as a matrix, right? So matrix have all the enzymes of the Krebs cycle. So the Krebs cycles enzymes, all enzymes are present in matrix, except there is a one enzyme, and that is the succinic dehydrogenase, because succinic dehydrogenase is present in the inner mitochondrial membrane. They are not present in the matrix. Now let's talk about the function. The prime function is ATP synthesis, the yolk formation, during the development of the ovum. Now it also constitutes the middle piece of the sperm and also it helps in the process of elongation of the fatty acids. And mitochondria being the semi-autonomous organelle, they also plays important role in cytoplasmic inheritance, right? Now finally, let's talk about the very origin. So it is believed that they have originated from purple sulfur bacteria of prokaryotic cells. That is how the mitochondria came into existence. So all in all, this is a double membranous structure found only in eukaryotic cells and primarily known for the very function of the generating energy in the form of ATP, right? So that's all. Thank you.